Right, another jazz guitar lesson for you. Similar principles to the last one. We're looking for new jazz chords that we can play really easy and that sound nice. For this one, it's more the sort of style that you heard jazz guitar players use once the guitars were fully amplified, and maybe as they were playing in smaller bands where the guitar could play a bit more of a prominent role. You could listen to guitar players like Joe Pass or Kenny Burrell on YouTube perhaps to get an idea of this style. Okay, now we've got a basic kind of position that we're going to hold all the time. We're going to bar the top four strings with our first finger. Okay, we're never really going to sound our top E string. We're only going to really sound the B string, the G string and the D string, and we're going to use the three fingers of our right hand to pluck those three strings, and we're going to use our thumb to play the bass notes. So we've got that claw hammer sort of technique. Okay, I'll keep my right hand out of the way, but that's what I'm doing all the time. Okay, we're going to use our thumb to play most of the bass notes. Okay, so there's our starting point, which is a G minor seventh. Okay, there's our G, there's the seventh note, there's the minor third and the fifth. Okay, and we'll probably adopt that sort of style similar to how a piano player will play, really, where you hit the bass note and then the rest of the chord follows in a slightly syncopated way. It's probably falling on the one and. Okay, and you can create a 3/4 type pattern there, or you could just have a. The idea being though that the chords are probably going to change almost every beat. Okay, I'll show you an example in a little while. So there's your G minor seventh chord shape. Now what we're going to do is add fingers into this space here to create different kind of alternate chords. Okay, first one is if we put our middle finger there on the G string on fret 4, we create a G seventh. Okay, there's our major note now rather than minor. We still got our seventh there, but it sounds particularly nice because you got something called like a tritone, where these two notes are sounding together, the D and the G string, and there's kind of like a pleasant dissonance to that. They sound like a little bit harsh, very bluesy, very gritty, but once you put the bass note in and the fifth note at the top, it evens out that sort of slight dissonance. Okay. Another option, we might want the major seventh, the slightly softer, more romantic sounding seventh, in which case we put two fingers on, and our middle finger now goes on the D string, and our third finger, our ring finger, goes on the G string. And you hear that slightly softer tone there. Slightly unusually, our kind of major seventh is the next chord we hear. We've got our bass note, then the major seventh, which is a bit kind of unusual because the major seventh's often at the top of the chord, certainly in the way it would be voiced, and more conventional chords are on the piano. So there's our major seventh, there's our normal seventh, I'll call that the blue seventh, and there's our minor seventh. Okay, three chord shapes where we don't even have to move our hand. Okay, we're just putting fingers on. Another chord shape that you might use occasionally is where instead of the two kind of extra fingers being there, we move them up so that our ring finger is now on the B string. Okay, slightly kind of spooky feel to that, and that's a G seventh, but it's an augmented seventh because the fifth note now is moved up on, and it creates a nice tone. In terms of a G augmented seventh, you're more likely to hear this in the key of C, in that this is kind of the fifth note of the scale, and it's setting up tension for it to resolve on the C. Maybe it's a C major seventh. Hear that kind of tension of it hanging in the air before it resolves to the root. Sorry, my guitar's on the verge of feedback because it is a jazz sort of guitar. So there's our C major seventh. All these shapes are movable now, so if our G major seventh is there, our C major seventh is there, just where the C chord would normally fall, which is why within 5 minutes of this lesson, you'll know all these jazz chord shapes everywhere on the guitar, I would have thought, because it's just a case of where would you normally play a B flat bar chord, it would be there, then all those shapes fall in. go back to the G though just to demonstrate. Okay, there's one other kind of chord shape that's quite useful, and it's the only one where we're not going to play the G and the bass, because in this case it becomes a D type chord, and this is where we put our our ring finger's going to go on the A string now, and our little finger's going to go on the G string. Okay, and we'll probably move it up a fret so it sounds like this. Okay, this finger's totally out of the way of things, it's just the bar behind it, I don't know if you can see. Okay, and that's a D 7th with a flattened 9th. There's our D sort of 7th chord. Okay, a 9th would probably usually be there, but in jazz sometimes we're flattening the 7th as well, the 9th as well. And there's a nice kind of jazzy chord. Again, you're more likely to hear this in terms of in the key of G, where it's on the D chord and it's resolving back to the G minor. There's a nice little change, very jazzy in 3/4 time. So I'm going to play a little pattern for you now. Just like one of the shapes. Sorry, we've got our G7th shape there. Okay, if I just move my thumb up 1 notch now, that creates a diminished chord. In this case, it's a G sharp diminished. You can hear that tension there. You could, in theory, put your little finger at the top as well to create extra Scooby-Doo tension from it. But you don't really need that, just there would be fine. Okay, and that's useful because in this pattern I'm going to go from a G major 7th to a D sharp, G sharp diminished. So there's your first change. You can hear sort of tension, the bass is rising up. We'll keep the bass rising up, we'll then go to a A minor 7th. And we'll keep the bass rising to make a B flat diminished. Looks just like an A 7th chord, but with the bass note on the B flat. Then we'll go up to a B minor 7th. Then we'll put our 2 fingers in that shape to create an E 7th with a flattened 9th, and then finally back to an A minor 7th. And to finish it, we could go to the D 7th with a flattened 9th, or we could go all the way up here to play a D augmented 7th. I'll try and play it smoothly now and see if you can join in. And you can see there, I'm just creating a little bit of a kind of a rhythm between the bass note and the chord. And I'm even putting in some little passing kind of chromatic notes, certainly when I got the get these nice little jazzy phrases. So you don't even need a bass player. It would sound quite nice playing like this, with maybe just a saxophone player playing over the top, or a singer singing some sort of jazz standard. So one more time and then try it yourself. Okay. If you've mastered that, try playing it maybe in a jazz waltz, a 3/4 thing. Bap, ba-dap, bum, bap, bap is the sort of rhythm I'm doing there between my thumb and my fingers. Or possibly you could do it almost in a Latin style.